Hey, welcome back to the Bound by Art podcast. I'm Missi Blue, tattoo artist, business owner, and your guide to navigating the chaos that is the tattoo industry. If you're an artist looking to grow your business, attract the right clients, and learn how to survive this career without losing your damn mind, then you are in the right place. Every week, I'll be bringing real talk, actionable tips, and hard-earned lessons from my own journey with a side of good vibes and a little bit of sarcasm. Whether you're new to the game, feeling stuck, or you just need a kick in the ass to get that spark back again, this is the show for you. Welcome to Bound by Art. Now let's get to work. Angela, thank you so much for being here today. Just to kind of give an introduction, we have Angela Wood. It is from Obsidian Moon Tattoo in New Hampshire, or you own Obsidian Moon, correct?
I do, yes.
And you've been tattooing for 7 years now,
Yeah.
and you describe your style as color realism / surrealism. She's such a cool chick and just amazingly talented, and I'm just completely blown away by everything that she does. I got to come out to the shop back in October and spent a few hours at the beautiful shop just hanging out and talking, and was like, she's awesome and I have to get her on the podcast. So I'm really excited to hear more about your story and what drives you and what got you to this point in your career. So thank you again for being here. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So I sent you some questions to start out just to kind of get a feel for like what we could talk about. And one of the things that you said was that you had a traditional apprenticeship, and that really interests me because I'm kind of honestly surprised to hear that. Mostly because you've been tattooing for 7 years, and I feel like a traditional apprenticeship is kind of rare now. You know, like there's so many people getting apprenticed in like a less than traditional way now, starting out on like directly on rotaries, and it's just like a totally different world now. So I want to hear more about your apprenticeship. What was that like?
For sure. So when I decided that I wanted to finally start tattooing and created like this portfolio, I was basically just complaining to a friend about how I just couldn't stand my job anymore. And I knew that I didn't want to do any other job that wasn't like art related. And he was like, dude, my friend just moved to New Hampshire. Like he might be looking for some extra help. And he's a tattoo artist, so maybe go like meet him. And I was like, okay. So I ended up meeting up with my friend at his appointment at this guy's shop. His name was Ryan. And I showed him my portfolio, and he basically told me, like, you know, I never really wanted to ever have an apprentice. But, you know, come start hanging out and see like where it goes. And so I did. I started going there every single day. Asking like, what can I do to like, you know, help out, started to kind of work in the front desk. And this was like an hour for me. So I was really taking a chance to be able to hopefully work with him. Because it seemed like in my area, there were artists that would take me on as an apprentice, but they weren't like the types of artists that I wanted to be like kind of associating with, like apprentice mill type places. And just being in the industry for so long, getting tattooed, since I was like 16 years old, I definitely knew that there were certain like better ways to go about having an apprenticeship. So anyways, I ended up hanging out there for a couple months, and finally he offered to take me on as an apprentice, and I did it all. I cleaned the shop every single day. I did scheduling for my mentor. I cleaned everybody's tubes. I don't know what I didn't do, honestly. I did literally everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, what's really funny is I said the same thing to my former apprentice. Like I never wanted an apprentice. So you must have really won him over, because I know from experience, like having that mindset, like, oh my God, that's too much work. I don't want to deal with that. To have
hmm
somebody like convince you, like it takes a lot of effort on your part, and you just driving, you said an hour to get there, and
Yeah.
just asking where you can help out, and like, yeah, like that's the type of stuff that I look for in apprentice too. It's like you have to at least like meet me halfway and show me that you're going to put in as much effort as I am, and like otherwise this isn't going to work. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
You also talked about how you had kind of a interesting origin story. So before you officially started your apprenticeship, you sort of took a like side quest before finding your path in tattooing.
I
So
did.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so when I graduated high school, I ended up getting a job at a tattoo shop, and I was just kind of hanging out there, hand tracing stencils, and doing cleaning tubes there too. It was always cleaning tubes. And I liked being there and I had a lot of fun, but the guy kind of wasn't really, again, one of those people that I didn't really think was like going to be the best mentor for me. So I ended up going to art school and I got my degree in sculpture. And I did that for a good couple of years in between getting tattooed and just like kind of working on my art, and building up my skills. And then we there were a couple times where I had opportunities to kind of like tattoo somebody like in a living room or something like that. And I tattooed my husband on somebody's couch like back in the day, knew like it was so bad. I was like, I really shouldn't be doing this, but they were like, you're an artist, like you can do it. So, I did it. And right after that, my husband bought me everything I needed on top of the machine that I already had from like my first like apprenticeship situation.
Oh, I love
Bought me
that.
stencil paper and all this Amazon stuff. And he was like, yeah, so when are you going to tattoo me again? And I was like, if I'm going to really do this, like I need to make sure I'm doing it the right way. And this was, again, even way before I even had the idea of like, should I apprentice again? This was like right after college. So I refused. I just absolutely wouldn't use the tools. I had them, but I just decided like I needed to do it the right way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Let me back up for a minute. Why sculpture? Why was that the choice?
Honestly, I think mostly due to like my professors during like critiques and things like that. I had to take like every single type of art and I loved it. I've dabbled in literally everything you can imagine. I'm sure you have too, like as an
Yeah.
artist. Like I just have my hands in literally everything. And so taking sculpture classes, I guess they kind of saw me more as a three-dimensional artist. And they just really encouraged me to go into sculpture. So I kind of just listened to them and that's exactly why. I don't
That's
think I
really
think
cool.
I wanted to go for painting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I would have assumed was that you did something with that, but that's really cool that you did sculpture. I really we we do these well, I won't say we used to do these monthly art events. Like we would get together and learn like a new medium or whatever, and it was so fun. But doing like clay sculpting was surprisingly like so satisfying, but I feel like it's so different than what we
Mm,
do every single day. And like drawing on paper, I feel like there's I don't know that there's been a day ever in my life since I've started drawing that I didn't draw. So that's just like it's just like a daily thing. So but
for
picking up clay
sure.
and sculpting, that's totally outside the box. But
For sure. And I
yeah.
didn't do a lot of like clay stuff. My sculpture was definitely more on like it was on a different side. I was doing a lot of sewing. I did a lot of welding, like
Cool.
armatures and things like that, to kind of like, anchor space for all the fabric that I was sewing and things like that. So I was doing a lot of crazy stuff, installation sculpture. I just like to really immerse myself in whatever like art I decide to kind of focus on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So how did you end up landing on the current style that you do for your like color realism genre?
So right before I got my apprenticeship, I started getting a lot of like full color, like surrealism style tattoos. And previous to that, I don't really know. I know that it was like a possibility because growing up, I was like reading tattoo magazines and seeing like all of the awesome styles and realism that was like possible. My mentor definitely wasn't into that and told me, I've done it and it doesn't last and blah, blah, blah. So he kind of discouraged that a lot, even though I like went into it knowing like I can draw realism. Um, so I would hope to be able to tattoo realism. So, I just kind of ignored what my mentor was saying about that. I took his advice, like, traditionally, like line work and things like that. And yeah, it kind of always was a goal to be able to do this like really full color, vibrant tattoos that I have on myself,
Hmm.
um, and just kind of do it a little more my way, I guess so.
I definitely recognize those traditional elements in your work. So there's a lot of realism out there where, because I've been tattooing for 21 years, so I, grew up with that opinion, forced on me that you can't do that because it's not going to hold up.
Hmm.
But however, there is a way to do it where it will hold up, and you are doing it. And like I can recognize it. There's definitely people out there that are not doing it where I'm like, that's definitely, like that's going to be gone in 5 years. The
100%.
disappearing tattoos, I like to call them. But yours, they're solid. You have that high contrast. You have that black, like, holding it together. And I think that's what impresses me so much about your work is that it's fucking good. It's so fucking good, but it's also like technically good, and it's going to look good in the future. That's I think that's what I'm most impressed about with your work.
I appreciate that so much, honestly. Like, contrast is the number one important thing to me. And that was drilled into my head by tattooers. And my professors, obviously, their art school is like all about contrast and things like that. But my mentors in general, like who I surrounded myself with, they were like, the most important thing is contrast. Like, obviously, try to match a color, but it's more important to have the contrast than anything. So that's definitely something that I pay a lot of attention to. So I appreciate that being noticed.
Yeah. For realism artists, I know that you guys get a lot of shit for people saying like that you don't draw, that you're just copying a picture. But if you've ever done it, like in a way, like you have to understand lights and shadows, like regardless, because you can't just like take two pictures and put them together and their light sources are in different directions and like the color is reflecting off of this thing in like a different way. Like it does take drawing skill. Like have you had people say that to you before, and how do you feel about that?
Not directly to me, thankfully. I feel like that would be so like upsetting, but definitely like reading comments on other people's pages, reading comments on Reddit, things like that. You're kind of going to see people that don't really know what they're talking about anyways. But it is so offensive to me because I feel like I do spend so much time drawing. Like I might not draw this like rose from scratch, but I am taking a photo and making it capable of being a tattoo that's going to like last. So it does involve a lot of like reshading, repainting, changing the shapes of petals and adding leaves and all that. So I do spend so much extra time just kind of working on these designs and making sure that they're not only going to like last well as a tattoo, but they're going to flow on the body, and not just be a bunch of random placed like flowers or whatever the design is.
Yeah, I definitely see that in your work as well as with the placement. You were working on a giant rose on the side of the dude's neck when I came up to visit you, and
Yes.
yeah, and the placement of it was super cool, like the way where the petals landed on like around his jawline and stuff like that. Like that, you can't just like stick like a random image on there and make it fit like that. That takes some work. One of the things that you said in the email was doing things that scare you is necessary for growth and development, and I love that, and I live that every day as well. And I'm interested to know what are some of the scary things that you've done, and how has that helped your career?
Probably number one being just conventions in general. My mentor, again, super old school, was not into conventions. Basically kind of discouraged me away from them, which was so unfortunate because once I got into it, I was like, wow, this is just like an incredible environment. I feel like right at home with all these people that are so like minded and things like that. Um, but yeah,
What was
going
your
to
first
conventions was
convention?
scary.
Sorry, what was your first
My
convention?
sorry. My first convention was the New England Tattoo Convention at Mohegan Sun.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, I
So
didn't
that
mean to
was
cut
a,
you off.
no, it's okay. It was at a casino. And it was in 2020, which was really just like horrible timing. So things were pretty weird at that convention. It was in
That
March, I believe,
that's
something like.
crazy to think about, actually. That you started tattooing right before COVID. So you had only been tattooing what, like 2 years, maybe a
I
year,
think it was about a year, yeah.
right before COVID. Oh my God, that must be. What was that like? Because I've never talked to anybody about this before. What what was it like being a new tattooer, having to? I feel like it was like a master reset. Like you have to start all over.
For sure. I feel like, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 years, but it was like a very small amount. But I feel like my situation was a lot different because I was already like fairly further on, I guess, than I should have been, just considering my like art background and things like that. I picked up things really quickly. And I feel like it wasn't so bad for me, except for the fact that like I couldn't tattoo.
Right.
So like I was just like distraught about the fact that like I couldn't tattoo and I didn't know how long that was going to be for. So that was pretty depressing. I had gone on like a little vacation, like I think it was a bachelorette, like for a week. We were in Nashville, and when I came home, my the dude that owned the shop was like, "Hey, you've been out somewhere else, like stay home for a week, see how you feel." And I was so upset, like couldn't be contained. I was like, oh my God, my appointments, like all I've been looking for is forward to is tattooing. So I took the week off, and then a week later he closed the shop. And then for 3 months, obviously, I didn't tattoo, and I just went back to what I knew. I was painting, I was doing pet portraits, I was doing anything I could to keep my hands busy while I wasn't tattooing. But
Were you
obviously,
doing
when
that for income?
I
Like
was,
selling
yeah,
them? Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, because I had quit all my other jobs that I had at that point. Um, so yeah, I kind of stayed at home for 3 months, made designs that I wanted to tattoo. Like eventually, when the shop opened back up, and when the shop opened back up, I got so busy that I ended up having to close my books for the first time.
Wow. A year
Yes,
in. That's crazy.
it was
So
absolutely
wild.
wild.
I mean, yeah, that's my, former apprentice. She was the same way. I think in the first year, she's like, I don't ever want to be one of those artists that closes my books. And a year later, she's like drowning. I'm like, dude, like you
Literally, I was
have
working
to.
like 7 days a week, which was amazing. I love tattooing. So for me, I was like, this isn't work. It's just like fun every day, and I love it so much. But it turned into like getting burnt out and having to
Yeah.
like take a step back.
Yeah. So you come back from COVID, and then you're super booked out, and you decide I'm also going to add a convention in here. How
The convention was before COVID.
Okay, so you had already planned. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
please. From what I remember, it was like right before COVID.
Okay, I was like,
Yeah,
that sounds like some shit I would do.
it was wild. It was an awesome convention though. I got tattoo of the day that Friday, which was pretty sick.
No, you did. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And did you just recently win Tattoo of the Day at Hell City?
Yes, it was a collab, me and Andre tattooing.
Yeah. Oh my God. You and Andre, like what a fucking power team right there. You guys are both fucking insanely talented. So was that your first time doing a collab with him? Or you've done them before, right?
We've done a couple collabs. He's probably like the person that I've collabed with most
Okay.
of everybody. We just work so well together. We do a lot of the same conventions, and people who like his work typically like my work, and vice versa. So it works out really well for us when booking those
That's awesome. And you have another one coming up with him in Philly, right?
in Philly. Yes.
Hell yeah. Do you already know what you're going to be doing? Or do you draw the design and then sell it, or you get the client and then
This one, we had people submit ideas,
Oh,
but
cool.
I think they're just kind of going with whatever we want to do. I think Andre wants to do like a super neo-traditional, like lady face type thing, like holding a flower maybe.
Shocking.
But we haven't nailed it down yet.
Awesome. That sounds cool. I'm going to have to check. What day is that at Philly?
Friday.
Damn it. I'm not going to be there Friday. I was going to come by
Are you
and
going
see
to be
it.
there?
I I was going to work Well, first of all, I was going to go snowboarding with my kids, and they decided that they don't want to skip school to go snowboarding, and I don't actually know how we're related, but um, fucking nerds.
Yeah.
So they ruined my trip. So I'm ending my snowboarding trip early, and I was gonna come work Philly, but I couldn't find anybody to booth with, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
come down and hang out. And then go snowboarding with like Mark and Clean and like
Nice.
make another snowboarding trick. But yeah, I'm gonna come hang out like think Saturday and Sunday at the convention at least. So I'll have to come find you and say hi. But
Yes, please. I'll be in the Fusion booth. It'll be easy to find me.
okay, awesome. So I'm assuming that they are one of your sponsors then, Fusion.
Yes,
That's
they
so
are.
cool. So how does that work? How do you get sponsored?
Honestly,
She
people
asks
ask
for
me this
herself.
all the time. And for me, like, it's just basically been like using that one product and just kind of tagging them, and hoping that they'll notice me. That's pretty much all I've done. I've never like messaged a company and been like, oh my God, I'd love to get sponsored by you. But that's another one of those kind of scary things that I had to do was kind of like go up to the Fusion booth at like a convention and be like, hey, I need to buy like this ink. And like for me, like I've been following Fusion since, I don't know, probably before I even started tattooing. So to me, it was such like a crazy idea to even think like they might want to sponsor me. But I was like, you know what, if I'm going to go for it, like I might as well like reach for the stars. And I was shocked when they wanted to sponsor me, but I'm so thankful and I love them so much and they take such good care of me. So
That's awesome. So you just have to get to the point where you're just like undeniably good and they have to acknowledge you. I guess that's the plan. Cool.
yeah, just do
I'm
good
on it.
tattoos. And don't be afraid to promote them. Like tagging them is the most important thing, I think, and them just seeing your work and being proud of like what you're putting out.
Yeah. And I think genuinely liking the company. You know what I mean? Like I,
Yes.
I think a lot of people are just like trying to collect sponsors, just like anyone who will sponsor them, but I know for me personally, like I wouldn't want to be sponsored by someone that I didn't like actually support their product or like I'm not gonna promote for somebody I don't like their stuff. But
100%, dude. I'm not against like getting rid of a sponsorship if you are in the position where they're not giving you what you need, as like their kind of client, because you are like either purchasing at a discount or they're giving you stuff, at the point where they're not doing like the what you expect them of them and they're expecting things from you. It has to be like a trade-off, you know.
yeah, it has to be
And
worth it.
I've gotten rid of sponsorships because it just wasn't working out on my end, or like for me. And I'm not afraid to do something like that if it doesn't work out and I don't feel comfortable telling people like I use X, Y, and Z. I'm not gonna be promoting that. So
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So going to a convention and putting yourself out there and entering contests, I'm sure that was scary the first time too. That's that can all be really intimidating. Like how do you push yourself past that to actually do those things even though they're scary?
I mean, you just have to kind of do it and not think about what other people are going to think of you or anything like that, because that's what's going to kind of set you behind. You got the fear of like these artists that you look up to seeing your work and maybe thinking that it's not the best or whatever. But it could be the opposite, and they could see your work and say, whoa, who did that? You know, so it's kind of just like, I guess, putting yourself out there and just being proud of what you did, and hoping for the best outcome. One of the first like scary ones for me was like at Philly. It was a good couple of years ago at this point, and I was putting a tattoo in for tattoo of the day, and the line was huge. You know, Philly is a giant convention, and the line for tattoo of the day was extreme. And I was kind of like walking up and down and just looking at everyone's work. And I was like kind of standing near my client so I could hear like what people were like saying about it. And it was crazy. There were so many people going over to my client just being like, oh my God, that's amazing. And just hearing that was like enough, to push me to do this again. And then she ended up getting second place at Philly. So that was
That's
awesome.
awesome. Are
Yeah.
you, do you get that like that imposter syndrome feeling? Like, what are they talking about? It's not that good. Like, or are you, some kind of weird special person that actually likes your work?
Imposter syndrome 24/7. I just try to silence it as much as I can, and use kind of all the compliments that are kind of surrounding the tattoo after the fact just to kind of show me that like it doesn't suck. I don't suck, but I know that I can be better. And I think that's what I've been telling myself like since day one. Like, I don't care how good I am now. I know that I can be better, and just always pushing toward being better and never, hitting a cap.
What is something that you struggle with now? Is there something that you're working on that you wish you could do better or
Yeah, for sure. Like composition, I think that's my number one thing that I've been trying to work on. Just looking at what's it called? Like the musculature of the body, and trying to,
like
you
finding the
know,
flow of the different shapes? Yeah.
exactly. Like I can, of course, like tattoo a rose and just kind of slap it on there, but it's so important to me that, it's going in a good direction and that there's stuff around it giving it movement so it just doesn't look so static. I think a lot of realism tattoos can just look super just like pasted on, and I'm trying so hard to find ways to make it look a little more light and airy and just kind of have a little more flow going on just to like level it up more.
Yeah. What kind of, so what do you do when you're trying to learn something new or, challenge yourself to get better at this thing? Like, are you seeking out like mentors or advice from others, or are you studying? Like, how are you going at that?
Honestly, I'm doing it all. I definitely reach out to my friends who are super amazing tattooers. Like Evan Olin gives me advice a lot. I am constantly texting him, asking him for advice on, business, design, like anything. He's been such an amazing mentor for me. Reading books, like Reinventing the Tattoo. That's one that I've been kind of looking into right now when it comes to like composition of the body and things like that. It also just makes me feel like I'm back in art school, and I like love that the way that it's like kind of organized and things.
My
Just,
entire apprenticeship was based off of that book.
oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, that's funny. Like I feel like there's been like a resurgence of it lately. I keep hearing people mention it because I mean the stuff that it's in that book is like it's timeless. You know what I mean? Like
It's amazing
it's
information.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
I mean, my mentor had the book when I was an apprentice, and I kind of glossed through it, but I just didn't have the experience to fully kind of grasp like everything that I was reading. So recently I found a copy online, and I've just been reading it from front to back, just kind of trying to take it all in and hopefully be able to utilize it a little better now that I'm like further on in my career.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And seminars, of course. I take seminars when I can.
What seminars have you taken in the past?
I've done the Explorer seminars, and I've also done the Texas Tattoo Educational. That was a long time ago, like right when
Okay,
I
I haven't
first
heard of that
started.
one.
Yeah, so mostly Explorer.
That's where, well, I don't know if that was my first one, but I did a lot of the Explorer like conferences. I think
Mhm.
I did 7 of them in a row.
Wow.
And it was like a lot of the same information. And I realized like I need to actually use this information before I go to another one of these. Like
For
I'm
sure, for
just
sure.
collecting information, doing nothing with it at this point. So
Just lots of notes in your iPad, just pages. It's
never
hard to go
reading them
back to that
again.
stuff because sometimes like you write stuff down and it makes sense in the moment, and then you go back and you're just like, what was I writing?
Yeah, and when I'm in there, like in the conference, like watching, there's people all around me, and they're like typing and typing, and I'm like, ugh, like fucking nerds like typing in their computer, and I go back to read my handwriting. I'm like, what the fuck? Like
Yeah,
they were right. They were right. I take it back.
I'm
But
more of a handwritten girl myself, so
yeah, well, for me, like I feel like if I hand write it, I commit it to memory.
Same.
If I type it, I'm not retaining that.
No.
I don't know what it is
There's
about it,
something
but
about writing the letters. It like goes through your arm and into your brain instead of like
that's what
typing.
it is. It's
Same
direct
thing.
connection to the brain. This episode is sponsored by ManaScheduler scheduling software, specifically with artists and studios in mind. ManaScheduler is built by artists so they understand exactly what we need when it comes to scheduling. It offers tools like multi-artist scheduling, analytics, client reminders, customized waivers, and entire studio-level organization. It's designed to grow with you whether you're a solo artist or running a full studio. If you want to spend less time managing schedules and more time focusing on your craft, ManaScheduler is a great option. You can learn more by checking out the link in our show notes. So, and you just opened your books up yesterday, right?
I did,
How's
yeah.
that? Did you
Honestly,
get bombarded?
it's definitely got like about the same amount as I did last time, which was 2 years ago. So I feel like that's really good considering like the state of tattooing right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
how do you plan to how do you do your booking? Do you like book everyone that submits, or you pick the ones that you really like? Tell the rest of
I
the
feel like
things.
I still haven't really figured out like the best way to do it. Like how many applications should I take? Considering how long, a sleeve is going to take me, it's like so hard to say. So at this point, I'm just kind of going through them all, marking which ones that I want to do and the ones that just aren't in my kind of realm at this point. And then we go through with my assistant and she kind of like contacts the ones that I do want to work with. And then we figure out kind of how we're going to start with that. And then the people that we don't end up working with, we always send to somebody local or local to them to kind of get them set up with like the right person for the job.
That's awesome. I love that. We do that also. So it's not a dead end, you know? Like I hate telling people no and then not offering some kind of
Oh my
solution for
God,
them,
of
you
course,
know?
I want to like support my friends. Like, I know my friends around or kind of like, especially my shop mates, like, if there's something that's going to fit them better, like, of course, I'm going to send it straight to them first. And then if it doesn't work out at my shop, I'll always just send them to like another friend.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you planning to be booked out 2 years again? Or
I really hope not. I want to be able to open my books like more often. It's so tough, dude. But it gets out of control so fast, especially with all the traveling. I end up booking out like I only like to book about 3 months at a time. And then, as we work through the wait list, like if I have someone taking a break, that's kind of someone fell off so someone else can fall back on. And I kind of keep myself within that 3 month realm, just so I don't have to move people if like surprise, like Fusion wants to go to like Nashville or something, then I can kind of go without having to be like, oh no, I have to reschedule clients. I feel so bad about that. So try to prevent that as much as possible.
so you just keep them like everyone that submitted a request, you just keep their information and let them know that you're going to get them in once the 3 months gets is closer to being up.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah. Basically, like I'll kind of work through like one at a time, and throw them in the books and like see how that kind of balances my schedule out. Like right now, I think we're booking into like March, like February is completely full and March is kind of like sprinkled throughout. So all those new clients that just emailed, we're going to start kind of throwing them in there and then see how it like transitions. Cause some people like to get tattooed once a month. Some people, it's one and done.
Yeah.
So I try to get the one and done people first and then work through the rest of the clients like as I can. But sometimes they know like it might not be for a couple months. It might be like, I don't know. It really just depends on what's going on in the schedule.
Yeah.
It gets crazy.
Yeah, I don't like to be booked out more than 3 months either. It's too stressful. Like my
Yes.
schedule is constantly changing, especially having kids. Like there's always they always want to tell you like a week in advance of some shit that's happening at the school, and like all my schedule is just so always changing. So it's too stressful for me. I don't know how people stay booked out for like 2 years. I'm like,
No,
it couldn't be
that's
me.
my
Couldn't
worst
be me.
nightmare, honestly. I can't.
Yeah, no, fuck that. So you do a lot of conventions. Like, how many conventions are you doing a year?
It changes every year for sure. I think last year was like 9 or 10. I think we hit about 9 or 10 last year, and that was definitely a lot for me. I was
Yeah,
traveling
that's,
sometimes more than once a month,
oh my gosh.
and it was rough. My husband hates it.
Does he go with you for all of them?
No, we have two dogs and two cats and like a whole homestead. So for him to like leave to come to a convention is just like a lot. And then he gets so bored so easily.
Yeah.
He's used to working 24/7. He owns his own business, so he's kind of like, busy with that. People ask me all the time, like, where's your husband? And, for him, he would be tortured to be at this convention for a whole weekend while I'm like head down working the entire time.
Yeah, same. My husband, I I don't know that he's ever really. I think he's been to Philly one time, and that was only just like to get tattooed because I had nothing to do, and he hung out. We went to dinner, and that was it. Like he's never coming
Yeah,
for a whole weekend. He'd be bored out of his
yeah.
mind. But
I mean, maybe for like Hell City or something. Hell City Phoenix is super fun. They have like the pools and the water slides and things like that. I think he would like that because he could get away from the convention and go do like his own thing. Plus, Arizona is so beautiful. Um, but yeah, it'd have to be like a cool destination, I think, for him to like have to find someone to do like doggy care and like all of those things, like New
yeah,
Orleans or something. We've wanted to go there, so maybe we can like figure something like that out at some point. But
yeah, I 9 to 10 conventions a year. That's I'm just trying to do the math on that. That's like that's insanity. I mean, I've done that before where I've done like 2 conventions in 1 month and I'm like, I'm gonna need a 6 month break from that before I do it
yeah,
again.
it
Um,
does feel that way.
yeah. So when you go, is it just like you literally get there like the day it starts and leave at the last day, or is it like a whole week thing?
No, usually like my typical convention weekend's going to be like Thursday to Monday. I'll get there Thursday, like hopefully a little bit earlier in the afternoon so I can load into the convention and not have to worry about that until we open on Friday. And just get dinner and socialize and meet people. That was another scary thing, just kind of going back to that, like going to a convention alone and then going to like the pre-party to like meet people. I've met some of the coolest people by doing that, but it is absolutely terrifying. Like, I'm sociable, but like, I don't know, it's just you got to break past the like, I'm scared to go out alone type of crap. Like, so, anyways, yeah.
So when you started doing conventions, did you have like a convention buddy to go with, or were you like 100% alone?
My first convention was with the shop that I was working at. And
Okay.
then after that, like I would travel with people or kind of like meet people there and get my own booth and just be there alone. Yeah, a lot of the first ones I did were just kind of like by myself, except for that first one at Mohegan Sun. That one I kind of had a lot of people there to be like, okay, we need to like be back at this time for health inspection, or we have to like, get to the doors a little early. And he kind of like guided me through that whole situation. And then, yeah, I just started doing it by myself.
That's a lot. I mean, I've done a lot of conventions by myself. It's so much. Like I now will not I won't do a convention now without at least an assistant with me to talk to people because if I'm tattooing like I don't I don't want to be completely like inaccessible, but I
Mhm.
also can't fucking talk. Like I can't
Yeah.
talk to every single person because it's the booth. So it's nice to have that buffer there. But just going to a convention and not knowing anyone, and then like try like you want to meet people, you want to talk to people, but you have to physically go up to them and everybody just kind of stays in their little cliques. Like everyone
Yeah.
has their little friend groups and they only hang out with them, which I get. Like now that I have my convention group, I kind of fucking stick to my group. And it's really difficult to like just I mean, especially if you don't drink, I don't drink. So, like going up to somebody sober and just starting a random conversation, like you're going to be my new convention friend, but it's really scary. But I know in the beginning, I definitely latched on to the same people, and I remember it was at the Tried and True convention in Orlando. I can't remember what year this is, like early 2000, and the guy putting on the show, he was like, Missy, he's like, you hang out with the same fucking people every convention. You need to get out of your circle and meet people and network. And I was like, how dare you? Like, don't you tell me? And I was like, fuck, he's right. I'm hanging out with the same fucking people. Like, I need fine. I was like, I can't. I'm not good at social.
It's so hard and so uncomfy. Oh my gosh. I have been lucky though when it comes to people like recognizing me with like my hair is pretty like recognizable. So I feel like people often will come up to me, like even if I'm just sitting by myself at a show, they'll come up to me and then I kind of like sometimes will latch onto those people and then they'll introduce me to more people. And that's kind of how I've created this like amazing amount of people. Like I feel like I could go to any convention at this point and I would know at least somebody. And that's kind of what kept me going. You know what I mean? Like to all these like bigger shows like Hell City. I remember when I went to my first Hell City, like I went with my friend Caroline, thankfully, and she was kind of like, we were buddies. We both didn't know anybody. And then, every so often, like somebody familiar that I didn't know was going to be there would come up and be like, oh my God, we didn't know you were here. And then it turns into like you meeting their shop and their friends. And then it just snowballs into like knowing so many people. And again, now I can go to a convention and I'm going to find somebody I know, which is awesome.
Yeah, I had blue hair for 20 years. Missy blue, like have to have blue hair. like, um, and it was the same thing. And the problem was I didn't know if I knew them or not. Like I didn't know if we'd met before or not. Especially like in my drinking days, I'm like, hey, you know. Um, now that I have blonde hair, I feel like I kind of fly under the radar a little bit more.
Mhm.
So people don't really. Um, that's not true. People still do. but but what's crazy is like so I've only ever really done like East Coast shows. So I grew up in Florida. I started tattooing in Florida, so I've been to a lot of those shows, and then up here in Maryland, Pennsylvania, all the East Coast stuff. And then I did a convention in Arizona. I did the Tucson convention, and I'm like, I don't fucking know anybody here. I hate this. like I'm like, it feels like scary again. Like I feel brand new again because there's at least like pretty much any convention I go to, there's at least like two, three people, like the
Yes.
very bare minimum that I'm gonna know and be able to say hi to. That Tucson, I was like alone. So that's really scary. But yeah, it's even just like meeting you, which I thought that we had met before, but I guess not.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes where I'm like I just decide that someone's gonna be my friend and I'm just gonna make them be my friend. And I was like, I like her, she looks cool, I'm gonna talk to her. And so I just kind of like forced myself into your shop and into a conversation. So,
I've seen your work so much, like my entire time tattooing. So,
oh
like,
really? Yeah,
I do.
I was like, I'm gonna just, I, and to me that's like that's scary to be like I'm gonna come to your shop and like obviously like that's your home, you're comfortable there, you have like your crew that you work with, your clients, whatever, and I'm gonna come in and be a stranger in this place where I'm outnumbered. And like that stuff to me is scary where I like or just like going to do a guest spot at a shop like that to me where I'm outnumbered is like the worst
Mhm.
part of it. But I purposely do that. I like will intentionally be like the first time I think of like the thought pops into my head, I'm immediately like, oof, that's scary. I'm like, fuck it, we have to do it now because I just acknowledge that it's scary. So I guess that's the next thing on the to-do list. So,
Hell yeah.
but I mean, just doing that, just I would say over the last 2 years, my career, my business, everything has just like exploded because of that. And it's just really interesting that like why didn't I do this sooner? You know what I mean? Like why have I always been running away from the scary thing? But I always kind of tell the people that also do that kind of thing that they kind of go like charging straight for the thing that's scary because they're the people that are getting noticed. They're the people that are standing out. They're winning awards. They're doing big things. Um, so I can see that from a mile away, and I tend to I try to like get in those people's circle and try to like get around them because I want to be influenced by that and I want to be encouraged in that way. So, but
I
yeah,
love
so
that.
thanks for hanging out and letting me hang out with you. But,
I'm having
um,
so much fun.
so you're presenting your first seminar this year. What
Yes.
is, I am dying to know what is it about? What are you going to be teaching on?
I think I'm basically just gonna do something about like my whole process from design to like tattoo. I haven't fully decided yet since it's going to be in October, and I have a couple of things I want to do beforehand, like take more seminars, of course. I want to finish reading Reinventing the Tattoo, of course, and just doing more research on like kind of what people want to know. I know for me, like I've been to a lot of conventions where like the artist just kind of talks about themselves and how they got where they are, and I'm not like interested in doing that. I feel like that's kind of disappointing when you like want to know more about their work and how they get there, versus like, their life story. I want to like know details. I want to know like what you're running your machine at, and like see videos of you tattooing from up close, and like where you get your references. I don't know, like that kind of stuff
Yeah.
is more important to me than knowing like your whole backstory. I think a little bit of backstory is cool. The whole thing, it's like, damn, I feel
Yeah,
like
how
we
much
could have
time do we
learned
have
so
here?
much more.
Yeah, I actually agree because I mean probably because we saw the same seminars, but yeah, there's definitely people who like they take up most of the time talking about themselves, which is cool. Like I do want to know that, but also yeah, I'd rather have more time for the information. I'm a big fan of the here's a little bit of my backstory. If you want to know more, go fucking figure it out. Like
Right? Or
here's
just talk to
like
me,
give them some
ask.
teasers, let them do some detective work and find out the rest. Listen to a podcast. Like,
Right?
but yeah, I love that. I would definitely be interested in taking that. So let me know.
Yes. Well, I will for sure.
Yeah. So if you get all the info, we can also insert that in here and say like where people can get signed up for it and everything. If that works out that way. But yeah,
Perfect.
I'm also doing my first live seminar this year in
Sit.
in March in St. Louis, and I I've done webinars before, and which is also scary, but they're also not real people. Like
Hmm.
on the computer, they're just like little tiny pictures, and they're tiny. You know what I mean? They're like not even real life size. And I think my first webinar I had 27 people,
Wow.
and which I was like, who are you people? There was like some guy from Russia in there. I was like, how would you like? What are you doing here, man? But I have to do this in front of people, and I think the room is maxed out at 15. So it's not gonna be a huge group of people, but like that's enough people to make me sweat a little bit. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. But I know the information like inside and out, and it's it's also like something that I feel like I don't know. And I think that's the sweet spot of teaching is where you know it so well that you're like, how do people not know this? Like how this
Right.
should be common knowledge. Like I feel like I'm telling them stuff they already know, but they don't know it. It's just you know it so well and you do it so much that it's second nature to you. So
Exactly.
so I try to focus just on like making sure that they're gonna get something out of it and not focus on myself and like how uncomfortable and awkward I feel.
Yeah.
So so that's my plan for that. But yeah, it's gonna be an awesome, exciting year. Yeah, I'm stoked to see you at the convention in Philly next
Yeah.
weekend and hopefully at your seminar, whatever that is. So,
Yes.
is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anything exciting coming up that,
Just a lot of conventions. Going to have a little magazine feature, which is exciting.
oh, that's cool.
I don't know when it's supposed to come out, but it's like a Fusion Ink ad that has my work in it, which is so cool.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Um, the seminar, of course, lots of travel, lots of conventions, hopefully more collabs, and just making sick tattoos.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's what it's about. Well, thank you again for doing this. I so appreciate it. It's been so fun talking to you. Tell everyone how to find you and where to follow you at.
You can find me on Instagram at Sweet and Offbeat, and my shop website's obsidianmoontattoo.com.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to make some moves today. Remember, it's all about showing up, putting in the work, and staying true to yourself. If you got something out of today's episode, share it with a friend who might need to hear it, and make sure to subscribe so we can keep this momentum going. Get updates on all of our latest episodes, events, and more by following us on social media at Bound by Art Project and by heading over to the website boundbyart.com. Thanks for hanging out and putting up with my shit. I'll see you next time. Now shut up, quit making excuses, and go get better.